The Celestara drifted silently over the moon of Sereth, its polished hull gleaming against the pale lavender horizon. Inside, the corridors whispered with climate-controlled air and diplomatic tension. Lieutenant Cole Mercer stepped off the gravity lift onto Deck 8, his boots making the faintest sound on the cushioned floor. Everything smelled too clean, sterile perfection that made his skin itch. He wasn't built for this. His hands were made for battlefield triage, not high-level diplomacy. But orders were orders, and he was here to prove humanity had a place among the stars. Lieutenant Mercer, a soft, accented voice called from behind. He turned. A tall, ethereal woman stood there, pale blue skin shimmering under the artificial light. Her silver hair fell in sheets over her shoulders, and her violet eyes regarded him with curiosity and the faintest trace of disdain. "Ambassador Lysari," he said, straightening. She gave a nod. "It's just Lysari while aboard. The Celestara is neutral territory." "Understood." She didn't smile. Virellans rarely did. Their first meeting was formal, brief. Cole accompanied her to the observation chamber for a diplomatic dinner. They spoke little, and when they did, it was through the thick filter of mutual caution. Still, something about her manner held his attention. She moved like cold fire, contained, deliberate, and dangerous to the unprepared. The chamber's windows opened to a full view of Seretha's moon, its surface scarred by ancient tectonics. As an Earth-based string quartet played an adapted Virellan hymn, Lysari stood suddenly, her fingers clutching the edge of the table. "Is something wrong?" Cole asked, already moving. She didn't answer. Her knees buckled. He caught her before she hit the floor. Gasps rose from the onlookers. Security moved closer but didn't interfere. Protocol was murky when Virellan physiology was involved. "Get me access to the medical suite," Cole barked. "Now." The medbay lights bathed the room in a soft blue pulse. Cole laid her on the exam chair, his hands moving with practiced precision. "Lysari," he said, scanning the bio-interface, "you're experiencing a spinal nerve stasis. I need to stimulate the lower limb channels to restore flow." Her voice was low, strained. "That is not permitted. Physical contact. You'll be paralyzed if I don't." She stared at him, something unreadable behind her eyes. A long silence passed. Finally, she nodded once. He knelt beside her and gently lifted her leg. Her skin was ice-cold under his touch, but smooth, almost metallic in texture. He pressed his thumbs into specific nerve lines, tracing along muscles and tendons. Her body stiffened at first, then slowly relaxed. "Strange," she whispered. "Your touch doesn't feel like others. I used to be a combat medic. I learned how to keep pressure controlled." She glanced at him, sweat on her brow. "You were military?" "Still Technically." "Why diplomacy, then?" He paused. "Because I've seen what happens when we don't try." Her expression softened, just slightly. But a moment later, her breath hitched, and she gritted her teeth. "You'll feel warmth return," Cole said. "It's normal." She nodded. "Your species, you're direct. We don't have the luxury of elegance sometimes." He moved to her second leg. The sensation of his hands against her bare skin, the methodical way he applied pressure, was oddly intimate, clinical, but with a care that transcended necessity. "You risk much," she said suddenly, voice low. "I'd do it again." Their eyes met. Hers glimmered like distant stars. His hands slowed, just slightly, though he didn't stop. A soft chime echoed security notification. Cameras had picked up the session. Every second was being recorded. "We're being watched," she murmured. "I know," he said. "But I'm not here to protect my reputation. I'm here to save you." She blinked, surprised. "You speak like no diplomat I've met." "I'm not one. I'm just someone trying to do the right thing." A beat passed. Then another. Slowly, she sat up, supported by the chair. Her legs trembled, but they held. "You were correct," she said quietly. "The function is returning. I'll file a report. You'll be fine." She looked at him, this time without the ice. "You touched me, Lieutenant Mercer. Do you understand the weight of that?" "Yes," he said. "Do you?" For a moment, The space between them felt charged, too heavy for the sterile room. Then she rose to her feet. Regal, composed, but not untouched by the moment. "I will speak to the council on your behalf," she said. "No charges will come from this. I didn't do it for protection." "I know." She walked past him, out of the med bay. The door hissed closed behind her. Cole remained still, staring at his hands. He hadn't just touched an alien. He'd crossed into something more complicated, more human, and far more dangerous. Cole woke to silence, not the comforting kind, but the tense quiet that follows the first crack in glass. Trouble was coming. He could feel it. His quarters aboard the Celestara were Spartan: a bed, a desk, a wall console, and a narrow window offering a view of stars he was no longer sure he belonged among. The room had always felt small, but now it felt watched. He dressed quickly, black uniform tight against his frame. Before he could exit, the door hissed open on its own. Commander Shirek stood there, tall, rigid, his translucent cloak trailing behind him like smoke. A Virellan born of old customs, face painted with honor lines, eyes sharp with suspicion. "Lieutenant Mercer," he said, voice clipped. "You are to report to Briefing Chamber 9. Immediately." No explanation. No expression. Just the clipped tone of someone already convinced of your guilt. Cole followed in silence, his mind working through possibilities. Lysari hadn't objected. She'd said she would speak for him. But the political machinery moved fast, and not always in straight lines. Inside Briefing Chamber 9, the lights were dimmed. A holographic image floated in the center, grainy surveillance footage of the med bay. Him. Ha. The massage. Shirek turned toward him, arms folded. "Do you deny this occurred?" "I don't," Cole said. "It was a medical necessity." She collapsed. "I intervened according to Virellan physiology protocols." Shirek tapped a control. The footage zoomed in. And this. The prolonged contact. The eye engagement. Cole kept his voice steady. "She needed help. I gave it. That's all." A pause. Then the door slid open again. Lysari entered, composed, every movement deliberate. She faced Shirek without hesitation. "I authorized the procedure," she said. "Without it, I may have suffered permanent damage." His intervention was correct. Shirek's jaw tightened. "That may be, but the footage now circulates. The moment has been misunderstood. Across species channels." Cole frowned. "You leaked this." Shirek didn't answer. Lysari stepped forward. "The issue is settled. I will submit an official statement." Shirek looked between them. "You are too naive, Lysari. Intent matters little to optics. And this," he gestured to the footage, "this looks intimate." Lysari's tone dropped. Perhaps because it was not sterile. It was human. Direct. Compassionate. The silence that followed landed like a blow. Shirek turned away, voice icy. "You've jeopardized years of diplomacy for a moment of human sentiment. This will not disappear." He left without another word. Cole and Lysari remained in the chamber. She looked at him, something new in her eyes. "They'll try to bury you for this." "Let them try," he said. "You're walking again. That's what matters." A brief smile touched her lips. "Rare. Genuine. You don't understand how our world works. Touch, it's sacred. Rarely given. What you did, it crossed more than cultural lines. It resonated." Cole exhaled, leaned against the wall. "Didn't plan for that." "I know." She hesitated. That's what makes it harder to dismiss. Later that evening, Cole found himself restricted to his quarters, an unofficial punishment while the council deliberated. A silent war of politics was unfolding, and he'd been made a pawn. Hours passed. Then, a soft knock at the door. He opened it and found her standing there. "Lysari?" "I couldn't sleep," she said simply. He stepped aside. She entered. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Not tense. Not cold. Just charged. She walked slowly to the viewport, arms crossed. "They want me off the Celestara." Shirek's pushing for early withdrawal. "They're blaming you." They see it as a scandal. I've complicated my value. You didn't do anything wrong. I touched you back, she said softly. Even if no one saw. Cole stepped closer. Do you regret it? No, she said. That's the danger. Their eyes met again, same as in the medbay, but now unobserved. Her breath hitched slightly as he reached out, brushing a stray strand of silver hair from her cheek. She didn't flinch. I've never been looked at like this, she whispered. Not by someone who didn't expect something in return. He leaned closer. I don't expect anything. A moment passed. Then she kissed him. It wasn't desperate or wild. It was deliberate, like a choice carefully weighed and accepted. Her lips were cool against his, her hands unsure at first, then more certain. His arms wrapped around her instinctively, gently, as if afraid she might disappear. They broke apart slowly. Her fingers traced his chest. This complicates everything. Maybe some things need to be complicated. She exhaled, shaky but steady. You're unlike anyone I've known. Good or bad? I haven't decided yet. A soft beep interrupted them. Her wrist console lit up a security alert. They're looking for me, she said. You shouldn't have come here. I know. He moved toward the door, then stopped. What now? She glanced at him, her expression unreadable. Now we lie. Then we decide if this was a mistake or a beginning. She slipped out before the door could fully close. Cole stood there, alone again. But something in the air had changed. Not just between them, something larger. Whatever this was, it had begun. The Celestara dimmed its lights for the night cycle, casting its endless corridors into pools of low amber. Most dignitaries retreated to their chambers. Silence wrapped the ship like velvet. Cole wasn't in his quarters. He moved swiftly, avoiding security drones, slipping through auxiliary passageways. His training returned effortlessly, quiet steps, sharp instincts, pulse steady. At the far end of Deck 14, past sealed diplomatic quarters and unused meditation rooms, the Starlight Observatory waited. Few ever came here at night. Fewer still could override its lockdown protocol. But he had her access code. The door opened with a whisper. Lysari stood by the glass dome, arms wrapped around herself, silver hair falling like moonlight down her back. You came, she said without turning. They're transferring you tomorrow. I know. Cole crossed the room slowly, his boots soundless on the dark stone floor. Outside, the stars shimmered, unblinking. They say I've compromised my impartiality, she continued. That I've allowed sentiment to cloud duty. They want to isolate me, preserve the illusion of Virellan detachment. And you? He asked. I don't want to be detached anymore. She turned to him, eyes unguarded. That night in the medbay, I didn't just feel the nerves in my legs react. Something else shifted. Something I didn't expect. Cole reached out, brushing his fingers along her forearm. She didn't flinch. Instead, she leaned into the touch. I didn't plan this, he said. Hell, I tried to avoid it. Then stop avoiding it. The words fell between them like a stone in still water. He kissed her. This time there was no hesitation, no uncertainty. Her hands found his shoulders, pulling him closer, not with urgency, but with a hunger that had waited too long. She tasted like cool air and foreign sweetness. Alien, and yet inexplicably familiar. They moved in sync without speaking. A slow descent into the weightless pull of something neither of them could name. His hands explored the planes of her back, traced the delicate ridges of her spine. Her breath hitched as he found a spot beneath her neck, just above her shoulder, sensitive in Virellan anatomy, she'd once mentioned. She gasped softly. You remember everything. I pay attention. They didn't rush. There was no need. Time, in that moment, felt suspended, just two bodies lit by distant suns, meeting not in politics or protocol, but in quiet rebellion. Later, they lay side by side on the observatory platform, wrapped in a discarded thermal blanket. Outside, stars rotated slowly, uncaring but constant. Cole stared at the void. When you leave tomorrow, is that it? Lysari didn't answer immediately. Her fingers traced patterns on his chest. There's an ancient rite, she said at last. Virellans don't marry. We soulbind. It's rare, nearly extinct, but still honored under Accord law. He turned to face her. Soulbind. A psychic contract. Unbreakable. It transcends distance, duty, even species. It requires mutual consent. And it bypasses political walls. He blinked. You're saying we could bind, and they'd have to accept it. They could contest. They'd try. But tradition runs deep. Shirek wouldn't risk open scandal by opposing it outright. Not when the right itself predates his authority. You'd lose your status, he said quietly. Yes. And you'd do that for me. I'd do it for us. A long pause. He sat up, bare feet on the cold floor. That's a big choice. Too big for what's been, 3 days? Time doesn't measure truth, she said. Virellans bond by resonance. Emotional synchronization. It doesn't follow human pacing. He studied her face. There was no fear there. No uncertainty. You'd leave your people, he said. They've already begun to leave me. His fingers found hers. Tell me what we have is real. She leaned forward, their foreheads touching. I feel you when you're near, when you're not. I dream in your voice now. If that's not real, then I no longer trust reality. Outside, a star flared. A sudden hiss interrupted them. The observatory doors burst open. Shirek. He entered with 2 guards, expression unreadable. The guards hesitated, seeing Cole shirtless and Lysari barefoot, their positions unmistakable. You disgrace your station, Shirek growled, eyes locked on her. And you, human, have seduced a diplomat to destabilize our talks. No, Lysari said, standing straight, unashamed. He didn't seduce me. I chose this. And I invoke the right of resonance. Gasps. Even the guards looked shocked. You can't be serious, Shirek spat. That hasn't been used in centuries. It's still valid under Virellan Accord Article 17. You're throwing away everything. I'm choosing something, she said. For once. Shirek stepped toward her. If you do this, you forfeit your seat. Your influence. You'll be a footnote in history. Then history needs better authors. Cole stepped between them. She's not alone in this. Shirek looked at him like he was dirt beneath his boots. You've doomed your own species. No one will trust a race that defiles protocol. We didn't defile anything, Cole said. We found something real. That scares you. Shirek's lip curled. You'll regret this. No, Lysari said. But you might. She turned to Cole and reached out. He took her hand. The bond began, not a flash or beam, but a steady pulse of warmth, a hum that passed between them. Their minds brushed, not fully merged, but aligned. Balanced. The guards backed away, uncertain now. Shirek didn't speak again. He turned and walked out. Cole looked at her. So, what now? She smiled. Now we face the stars together. Whatever comes next. And for the first time since boarding the Celestara, Cole felt like he belonged. The tribunal hall aboard the Celestara was a cathedral of silence. Arched ceilings stretched into shadows, lined with etched star maps and foreign emblems. Delegates from 8 species sat behind curved glass desks, glowing with pale blue data. All eyes fixed on the center platform. Cole stood alone beneath a column of light. He didn't fidget. He didn't sweat. His heartbeat was steady, not because he wasn't afraid, but because fear had finally taken a backseat to purpose. A Virellan elder adjusted her veil and spoke. Lieutenant Cole Mercer, you are summoned before this council under charges of breaching interspecies physical protocol, compromising a diplomatic envoy, and entering an unauthorized soulbond with a representative of the Virellan Empire. He met her gaze. Understood. Do you have a defense? Yes, Cole said. Her name is Lysari. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Subtle, but undeniable. He didn't flinch. Every action I took, every touch, every word, was with her well-being in mind. No deceit. No manipulation. And the soul bond wasn't strategy. It was truth. You can review the telemetry. You'll find no coercion. Only resonance. The elder tapped her console. You speak of truth, but your actions defied protocol. So did hers, a voice rang out. Gasps. Heads turned. Lysari entered. She wore no robe, no diplomatic badge. Just a simple dark tunic and bare arms marked with the pale veins of the resonance bond, glowing faintly against her blue skin. She walked with deliberate grace and stood beside him, ignoring the whispers. I forfeited my title the moment I invoked the right, she said. But I didn't abandon my people. I reminded them of what we've forgotten, that feeling is not weakness. Shirek rose from his seat in the Virellan gallery, his tone icy. You gambled the weight of your people's legacy on a human impulse. I reclaimed something greater than legacy, she replied. I reclaimed choice. The elder leaned forward. You ask us to honor this soul bond as valid. You must understand the precedent you set. I do, Lysari said. And I welcome it. Another pause. Then a human delegate stood. Permission to speak. The elder nodded. The question isn't whether this bond breaks protocol. It's whether it opens a door we've all been too afraid to walk through. Virellans and humans share this galaxy, but not each other's lives. Maybe that changes here. The words hung in the air. The kind of silence that waits to become history. The tribunal went into closed deliberation. Cole and Lysari waited in a private holding chamber, neither speaking for a long time. She sat beside him, fingers lightly tracing the inside of his palm. I thought I was ready to be judged, he said quietly. You are. But they're not judging us, not really. They're judging whether old walls are worth keeping. Do you think they'll tear them down? She looked at him. Some walls don't fall. They erode. One touch at a time. An hour passed. When the council returned, the elder stood. The tribunal finds no evidence of malicious intent, coercion, or manipulation. The soul bond, while controversial, falls within ancient precedent and is therefore legally recognized under interspecies law. Relieved gasps. Some delegates applauded. Others sat still, lips tight. Cole didn't smile. Not yet. The council rules the charges dropped, the elder continued. However, Lieutenant Mercer is advised to withdraw from active diplomatic duty. His presence now represents more than neutrality. Cole nodded. Understood. Lysari stepped forward. And I. The elder softened, only slightly. You remain a free citizen of the Accord. But your future is yours alone now. The Empire will not shield you. She didn't flinch. I never asked them to. They exited the chamber side by side. No cheers. No headlines. Just a quiet shift in the weight of things. The Celestara resumed its cycles. Delegates returned to their schedules. But something small had cracked open, and everyone felt it. 3 days later, they stood aboard a transfer vessel orbiting Earth. Below, the oceans gleamed like sapphires. You ever been down there? She asked. No, he said. But I used to dream about it during deployments. Thought maybe one day, I'd find something worth returning to. And now? He smiled. I already found it. She looked out at the curve of the planet. Your world is loud. Messy. But honest. You're ready for it. I'm ready for you in it. The shuttle descended. Neither of them knew what came next. Not exactly. There would be critics. Barriers. Curiosity. And maybe even fear. But there would also be mornings. Laughter. Arguments over coffee and alien fruit. Learning each other's rhythms, his mess, her precision. Her silence, his need to speak through it. And somewhere down the line, maybe something more. A home. A family. A future not defined by bloodlines or stars, but by the choice to face it together.